Anybody that's shooting for something extremely high, you have to start with a
little irrational.
A little irrational, because if you were to let logic or rationality, you wouldn't make it, because
too many
everything
obstacles.
The numbers, the odds,
you can't do that.
The odds aren't in your favor. I'm honestly that person till this day. It's a strength. I still have the same delusion from when I was 6 and 12. My mind instantly goes to, I wonder how good I could get if I did this every day. How good could I get?
Delusion, the term that is primarily used to describe something that is unrealistic, something that is fake or all in someone's head. But see, to me, delusion is a skill. In life, when you try to be successful in something, whether that's something just as simple as trying to land a good paying job, or do something as big as becoming a Grammy award-winning artist, there's a certain level of delusion you need to carry on in your journey. When you're on a path to better your own life, people and situations will try to poison your mind with doubts, insecurities, and all these other different things to try to convince you that you can't do the thing that you say you want to do. But trust me when I say you're not the first and you won't be the last person to experience this. It is all but a mere test from God before you are given the thing that you want. The question of that test being, are you what you say you are, regardless of the external opinions and circumstances? And the answer to that question being delusion. What do I mean by that? Well, let me explain the power of delusion. In the words of Andre 3000, one half of the legendary duo Outkast, little rooms, great things start in little rooms. Kinda like a young Jermaine, who grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina, son of Kay and James Cole. He, like a good percentage of the population, grew up in a middle to lower class family. Yet despite being in a little room, he had big dreams. Jermaine wanted to be a rapper, and not just any rapper, an iconic rapper, someone who influenced people the same way Jay and Pac influenced him. Not only this though, but he wanted to use his raps to become rich. His single mom who took care of him and his brother as a USPS worker had to work a lot of long hours for short pay. He wanted to retire her and make sure that they never ever had to stress about money again. So here in this little room, a 12-year-old Jermaine decided that he wanted to become a rich and famous rapper. He asked his mom for a beat machine for Christmas, and Kay, being a good mother, wanted to see her child happy, got him exactly that.
She bought me that beat machine when I was 15. That's a legend. She bought me that beat machine.
You bought her the beat machine, so it's your fault.
It's by the way, it's like $1,000, which was crazy, and she got it for me somehow, you know.
He was always making things happen, you know? I mean, here's a kid that was not messing around.
Jermaine began to constantly write every single day, telling no one about his dreams. Not his friends, not his family, not even his own mother.
Clarify and define your vision for yourself in the highest possible way that you could see. Number 2 is like, believe it. You know what I mean? Like see it all the time and believe it, and whatever you gotta do to protect that belief. My version of protecting that belief was I wasn't sharing this.
Yeah,
I wasn't telling my mom. She knew I rapped. She knew I did music, and to her it was
let
like,
somebody knock you off.
I'm not even gonna give my own mother the chance to try to bring me back down to reality. It's not gonna happen.
It was just him, his delusions, and his rhymes. Eventually though, after trial and error and continuously making songs in his room, he decided that he was good enough to start performing in front of others. So Jermaine started going across the city doing cyphers, which is just where rappers rap in front of each other to see who's better, and he began to tell all the local rappers that he was like that. He could rap and he had the skills to pay the bills. But see, like most times when you tell people that you have something that is gold, most people are so used to seeing silver or being bronze-minded that they can't even recognize when gold is right in front of them. Nonetheless though, Jermaine didn't let none of these comments or opinions shake his delusion, because as soon as the beat dropped and it was time for him to rap, it was obvious that what he had was gold.
I get on stage as a 14-year-old, scrawny, skinny. I sounded like a girl. My voice was high-pitched. I was nervous as hell, but as soon as they passed me the microphone, I destroyed that shit. I was the best on the stage with all these older dudes, and that's when dudes from Bomb Shelter was like, he wasn't lying. He really got it like that, and we started working.
Shortly after this, Jermaine started recording more and more original pieces, evolving more into himself as an artist. His most notable song at this time being recorded, called The Storm.
What goes around comes around, what goes up must come down. You up now, but you'll get yours somehow, someday, in some way, shape, or form. Revenge is coming, no way to escape the storm.
Made whenever he was just 15 years old. But see, while Jermaine had the talent, What he didn't have was the money. And we all know without money, we really can't live for real. So fast forward a couple years later, with it being 2007, 7 years after Jermaine moved from the state of North Carolina to go to New York in hopes of getting a record deal, despite him going through 4 years of college and making music, he decided to not get a full-time job as it would take away from his music career. When his mom questioned him about what he was going to do after college, he finally shared his dream with her, explaining to her that he was going to be a full-time rapper waiting on his record deal. And as expected, she expressed heavy disappointment and disbelief in his dream.
But I knew college was enough, took up enough energy away from the music. Now that I was done with that, I was like, yo, if I get a 9 to 5, like the rest of my friends, it's a wrap. You know, I folded, I gave up, you know, so I just told myself I can't get a 9 to 5. I just got to do little side hustle jobs, $9, $10 an hour. It was like creatively, you know, I was in the right space, I was doing, you know, the right things. But, you know, when you don't have no money coming in, when you're just trying to pay the rent, it's kind of hard to, you know, to focus on making music when you got all these other things to worry about. You got rent, you got food, gas, shit like this. So that was the hardest part, was just juggling the creative side with the financial side, trying to pay my bills and stay in my apartment, you know, and still chase his dream. I think that's why a lot of people quite quit, you know, and don't make it, because it's scary, you know what I'm saying, to think that I'm up in New York City by myself, not making enough money to feed myself, but yet I want to chase his dream. You just gotta, you know, stick it through.
To make matters even more worse, while Jermaine finally had a solid catalog of mixtapes and singles, the most notable one he released that year being called The Come Up, he decided after getting a tip on where Jay-Z was going to be in New York that he was going to approach him and pitch himself as an artist.
Jay-Z was working on American Gangster, and I had already graduated school, and I thought it was a sign from God. I read the press release online, and it was like, Jay-Z finishing American Gangster, and I was like, yo, he's not done yet. I can go make beats right now and get on this album, because I know where the studio's at. So I made this beat, went home and made 2 beats. One was called Top of the World, put a hook on it and everything. Burned my CD, put the CD in the Jay-Z Volume 3 case, maybe Volume 2 case, closed it up, took the train to the city, stood outside the studio, me and my partner E, for like 3 hours with a bottle of E&J, just like passing time, waiting on Jay-Z to pull up. The Phantom finally comes around the corner. It's raining, by the way. We've been in the rain. The Phantom pulls around the corner. Jay-Z, somebody gets out the car in front of him just to open his door. He hops out. I'm like I'm froze. I don't really know what to say. I'm like, yo, Jay, I got this for you. And he's like, man, what is that? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, yo, this is American Gangster beat CD. You know, I can't really speak. And he's like, man, I don't want that. Man, get out to one of those guys.
Wow.
Like, he said it. So I'm sitting there like, oh, you motherfucker. Don't you know I've been out here for 3 hours, man?
It seemed that everything was trying to tell him that he wasn't who he said he was. And see, most people end up quitting right here. They swing their hardest and miss. They get tired of not having as much money as they desire. They get tired of their reality not correlating with what they want their future to be. So they end up getting lost in what's in front of them instead of overcoming it. But see, Jermaine was different, because he instead decided to refocus on what he wanted, which was to become a successful and rich rapper. So he instead just used this situation to feed into his delusion.
And after 15 minutes, bro, I had a self-realization where it was like, bro, it's not gonna happen like this for you. Like, this is a fluke. You got the real thing. It's gonna happen for you, but it ain't gonna happen like this on some fluke fairy tale story. It's gonna happen a different way.
Instead of taking this situation as a sign to give up, he used it to instead be a lesson, another part of his journey in which he will one day tell in his own story. And guess what? That's exactly what happened.
You know what I mean? And I went home, and a year later, no bullshit, a year later, I got a call that he didn't know who I was. He don't remember me being a kid, but I got a call that Jay-Z wanted to meet me because he heard a few of my songs from Mark Pitts, and he wanted me to come to his office. And of course, I ended up getting signed.
That's
so
great.
A year later, bro.
He got signed, being the first ever artist to get signed to Jay-Z's newest label, Rockefeller Records, in 2009. He made his first ever hit record titled Workout.
Hey, we got a good thing. Don't know if I'ma see you again. Cause girl, I can't be your man. No man.
It went on to become one of the greatest artists of our generation, known as J. Cole. See, whenever you have a dream and you hold on to it, there will always be situations, people, and circumstances that try to convince you that you can't do it. And you have one of 2 options. You can either A, feed into these negative thoughts, those situations, and ultimately allow those things to overtake your life and dictate the direction of it. Or you can B, choose to continue to believe that you are what you say you are and take all obstacles as exactly that, just obstacles. See, what happens whenever you choose the latter and you believe in your delusions and you don't let circumstances define who you are or what you're going to be, the delusion allows your brain to find a way to solve the problem. You allow your mind to attract the ideas, attract the thoughts and people who will help you achieve your dream. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's only delusional because it hasn't happened yet. If you have the belief and ability to see past the present and the circumstances that you don't want right now and only look towards who you are, what you want, and who you're going to be, it will eventually be your reality. So stop limiting yourself, stop listening to things and situations that go against what you want, and start being delusional. Man, I appreciate the love so much from y'all boys. Go subscribe to my second reaction channel, Alex the Virgo Live. Man, we just hit 1,000, we got monetized. I want to appreciate y'all so much for the love. Continue to support. With that though, I appreciate the love so much. I'm Virgo. I'll see you on the next one. Love.